Hey everyone, how's everyone doing today?
Good.
So I'm going to ask you guys to ask yourselves real quickly, what do you think of when you think of the word team? So Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines the word team as a group of people who work together. So with that idea in mind, that definition, when you look at these four pictures, these are pretty much all just teams, just with different goals in mind essentially, right? Different common goals, but they're all groups of people who work together, right? So that's what I'm going to talk about today, is the aspects of team culture in a broad sense that makes up every sort of team that is in all four of these teams, just with different common goals. So I'm going to talk to you guys about this with three different aspects. The first one being the aspect of the common goal of the whole team, being what guides the norms and behaviors and pretty much the whole culture of that team. Then I'm going to talk to you guys about how these teams still manage to regulate these norms and behaviors so it fits with the common goal. And finally, how the individual is affected usually by assimilating oneself into a team like this. So first, let me get to the common goal of a team, which makes it. So the idea behind a team and its culture, team culture, is set by a common goal, and that is what guides its, pretty much its whole culture. And Richard Weiss describes in his article, Developing an Effective Team Culture, he describes, and I'm quoting him when I say this, the key to success is in developing an effective, quote-unquote, team culture, and the most predictable advice from said most effective culture is one that fosters participation, problem solving, and commitment to the organization's goals. So in my personal experience of being part of any team that I've been a part of, whether it be wrestling or just a club, I've noticed that the ones that have been the most culturally driven and the ones where we live our culture out the most is where the common goal is the most strong between all of us, that drives how we behave amongst each other. So with the idea in mind that the common goal is what roots the culture, I'm going to talk to you guys about how teams and team culture is able to be pushed through certain discipline and integration in order for the teams to have their behaviors and norms carried out for the common goal. And pretty much the way it works is most teams, in order for their culture to work well, they'll use some sort of discipline or integration in order to get their teams to fit for the common goal. And Catherine Casey talks about in her article, Come Join Our Big Family. It's an article about big corporate America and how they discipline and integrate people. I'm quoting her when I say this. Discipline and integration are common corporate practices intended to procure the diffusion of ambivalence into corporate identity and increase productivity. And in English, that pretty much just means they use discipline and integration in order for people to identify with each other better and be more productive. So, in my personal experience, being a part of certain teams, they would use shunning and sort of discipline in order to get me to either change or get out, specifically in wrestling. And I wanted to be a part of that team, but I didn't really like the culture too much and how they pretty much were like, act like this or get out. So, nonetheless, I left that team. So, now with those two things in mind, I want to talk about how the individual is affected when joining any sort of team culture, usually on a broad scale of most team cultures. And the idea is the individual is usually changed, or their own personal well-being or culture is changed as a result of assimilating oneself into a team culture. And a good example that I describe this is fraternities and sororities on college campuses. They take new members and they will have them go through the whole process in order to fit the common goal. And usually as a result, they will become changed individuals outside and inside of the culture, pretty much a different person. And in my personal experience, for example, specifically fraternities, I joined one way and I can accurately say that I become a different person as a result of it. And I'm not saying whether or not that's good or bad, but that is just the result of it, and it's happened with other organizations or teams I've been a part of too. So with all three of those aspects in mind, I just want to kind of paint this into one big picture so it kind of all makes sense. And so in conclusion, when you think about a team and their culture, they're rooted with a common goal that guides certain norms and behaviors for the people who work together to fit that common goal. And in order for teams to make sure these norms and behaviors are set well, they'll use certain aspects of discipline and shunning in order for the common goal to be achieved. And the result of this, the individual is changed as a person it's changed as a person as a result of the discipline and integration and outside and inside of the culture. So when you think about it, joining a team is more than just joining a team. It's a personal investment in yourself, or it can be detrimental to you if you don't think of it that way. So next time you guys all go out thinking about a club or a team in any way, think to yourself, do I want to live this culture out in and outside of the culture? That's all I have today. Thank you guys.